Let's talk about some tough love. Can we do that? Because sometimes we do need some tough love. And everyone takes a minute and goes, oh no, what's going to happen?
What's he going to say to me? I don't know. This is going to be scary.
My question is kind of hard to put into words, but I will try with this example. Recently, I had a very rough few days at work and talked to a loved one about the frustrations I feel with certain coworkers who have a very sarcastic and condescending way of speaking. And I say, he or she makes me feel like such an idiot. And in explaining, I'm asked why I am letting them make me feel this way. I know it's a form of tough love, but this question has never felt empowering to me. So, okay, let me finish what you're saying here, then I'll dig in a little bit. When I truly feel wounded and hurt by someone who is genuinely disrespectful, this question feels like victim blaming. Like if a person punched me in the face, I am to blame for the fact that I am bleeding. How do I receive tough love without losing healthy vulnerability? I continue to pray for you as you finish writing your OCD book. I look forward to reading it, and I look forward to you reading it as well. Ding! So, a couple things I would say here. So you're talking with a loved one, and so I don't know if the loved one, your spouse or a brother or sister or with that, a friend or whatever. What you're doing is you're venting. You have a bad day at work. And they made me feel like such an idiot today. When we vent, we usually need to know who you're talking to, because just the person you said is a loved one, they may not be a safe person, and so sometimes you share. And here's the truth: and a lot of times when we share, we don't want something fixed. We just want to get it off our chest. And there is something about can I just share this, that gets the burden off a bit, and it's like the relief valve gets hit. And then there's an aspect too where we just want to feel understood, that we're not crazy, right? Oh, my boss said this today, and it was like, and a lot of times when you get out of work, you feel like you want to decompress, and you say it makes you feel like an idiot. Now, another thing I would say is these coworkers are pinging a nerve in you, make you feel like an idiot. So sometimes when we're in these situations, I'm not encouraging that it's okay for people to be abusive or harsh or whatever. But there's always learning in things where, like, okay, it's hitting this nerve. Look at it yourself compassionately and go, okay, what's this pinging in my life? Because it's not about them. Do you notice in life that there are a lot of things that are annoying happening around you, and many of those things don't bother you? Do you notice that, folks? Do you notice that in life? Like, you go through your day, and like a large percentage of dumb stuff people say, things people do not bother you. But there's those few things that as soon as it happens, it gets on the very edge of your last nerve, and it goes 0 to 60 right in you. Interesting. Interesting that when you drove on the road, this person cut you off and didn't bother you. This person happened to you. This person said this person said that. You watched this on the news. It didn't really bother you. But this thing, it went right through you, right down to the last nerve in your big toe, right in the end, right? And it hit you in that way. Why? Those areas have history. So number one, the person you're talking to just may not be a safe person. Number two, let's look at this lovingly and compassionately. What's the trigger bringing up for you? Because the stuff that bugs us the most, yes, people can be harsh and people can be rude and all that. But let's look at it compassionately, without judgment, without shame. Those areas have history connected to it. So when you're in a room, you're like, people made me feel like an idiot. Let's notice that. What does that resemble? What in your life in the past does that resemble? Well, when I was in my last relationship or my last job or this. Okay, let's go further back in history. What else does it resemble? And it usually goes back to childhood. My parents or my brother made me look, I feel like a stupid idiot and they laughed at me, or being bullied as a kid growing up or whatever. So if you'll look at this compassionately, you can look back in history and see what this is about. Okay, God, I see that. That's something I want to invite you into my life to heal so that I can be more self-aware. You can heal me, strengthen me, reparent me in that, and mature me so that over time I can practice not taking myself so seriously and realizing, okay, people are not always the greatest. And it helps us to relax in what comes at us throughout the day. You have to go to work. You have to, so you're at your job. You're just wanting to navigate without this stuff hooking on you so much. Now, number 3, this is the tough love part. To address your question, we also all need to humbly allow for self-awareness. Now, in your sharing to your loved one, we have to sit back and say, is your loved one going, I feel like I hear this a lot from you. Is that when they're going, why are you letting them speak to you in that way? Is there a pattern where you keep venting, and it's becoming a broken record? And that is where even there are times where people have given me, it wasn't what I was hoping that I would get. I wanted understanding and I got a feedback, and sometimes it would hurt a bit. But then later on I would go, you know what? They were right. They were right. I was defensive. I was like, I feel like you're shaming me. But then I was like, you know what? There's truth there. I can still take truth, even though it wasn't said the right way or the most helpful way. I can still take it and let it grow in my life. Because that's the heart of an overcomer, is we don't let offense ruin our journey, being offended, right? So I'm like, is this person, am I being victim-y about this? It's helpful to have self-awareness, because sometimes what we do is we make conversations, they're all wrong and I'm 100% right. And it's not, it's a mixture. We're all learning, we're all growing. So I would use this as self-awareness. And so we said, how do I receive tough love without losing healthy vulnerability? Well, if you're vulnerable and someone consistently comes across harsh, it may mean that they're not the safest person. Celebrate that you took a step. Celebrate you took a step of being vulnerable. Hey, come on, because how many of us go, I'm really going through, and then somebody starts preaching at us, and it's like, it's not what you needed. But celebrate the fact you tried to be vulnerable. You tried to be real, because that's what we need more of in this life. Is people just being real. This is what I'm going through, and got too much plastic Jesus going on. Jesus isn't made of plastic.